The following program deals with controversial subjects. The theories expressed are not the only possible interpretation. The viewer is invited to make a judgment based on all available information.
Tonight on This Week in Redacted.
Scent of suspicion. Was a ghostly happening caught on camera in this isolated condo? From paper planes to professing faith, is MIA's career now MIA? A pair of identical UFOs surface years apart, but is this evidence or more smoke and mirrors? And finally, the field of fear, a farmer's battle with the enigmatic Fishman. All this was the Tales of Redacted. With your hosts Chris and Ryan, this is This Week in Redacted.
What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of This Week in Redacted, which is a weekly podcast where Chris and I examine the top abnormal news articles as presented by Reddit. So we pull these articles into 4 specific categories. They're going to be aliens, cryptids, paranormal, and conspiracy. And then we basically rank them and then pull the top one off of the list for every single week to examine live on the show. And so we have got some exciting stuff this week. Chris, what are you looking forward to most?
The humanoid encounters. I think that story is exciting. Can't wait to discuss and maybe argue about it, because I was like, ooh, this is my sauce right here. So I'm really looking forward to that one. I'm also really looking forward to your what you thought about the ghost one. You know, at the minute I saw it, I was like, I don't want to share it till we discuss it, but I'm really interested in what you have to say about that ghost one. And definitely the conspiracy one. That one's really interested. That one really caught me by surprise. I don't know how you felt about it, and that's the one, the MIA.
Yeah, man, I'm excited about all of them this week because they are it's a very weird spread of abnormal news. So like the MIA, I wouldn't consider a conspiracy, but I think, as we get into it, we can kind of examine like where exactly that kind of fits in the same kind of like sphere of experience. And then the ghost one, I mean, come
You
on,
have to
man,
watch
come
the
on.
video just to see what what we're talking about. Once we share it, you'll know what we're talking about, and I could already tell that you're like being super skeptic about it. But we haven't even gotten into it, and I'm already agreeing with you.
I know I'm ready to fight on this one. So, and for viewers who don't know,
Oh
I'm
my
I'm the
God.
resident skeptic. Chris is the resident
Super
believer.
believer ends up being more skeptic.
Yeah, and so we're going to look at these articles tonight. We're going to evaluate the claims that they make. We're going to talk about some of the features. So like just basically go over the details of the who, what, when, why, all that kind of stuff. Evaluate the claims from the skeptic's perspective, from a believer's perspective, and then Chris and I will give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and then we'll move on to the next article. And do we just want to like hop into it? Let's just hop into it. Let's
hop into it.
Let's get into it, man. All right.
Last time I think we ranted for like an hour. Let's just go straight into it.
Yeah, we can rant after. Like we can still definitely
we can
do that.
Rant
but
during it.
Yeah.
We'll
start off with the
COVID conversation. I saw the video. I went back and I watched it. I was like, man, I got emotional there.
I know. That's all. That's what you get on this podcast. By the way, if you're watching and you already like what you're seeing, please like and subscribe, because it helps new content creators like ourselves, which we are, in fact, new content creators. We are just getting started with YouTube, learning the ropes, and having a lot of fun doing it. And with all of that, I think let's hop into aliens first, because this will be the softball for the week.
Yeah.
All right, from the alien subreddit with 5K upvotes, a very unhealthy spice rating of 74, and 1,200 comments. The exact same UFO photographed in Mexico in 1993 and then in Texas 2008. So this is the article. What are your first impressions on this one, Chris?
All right, so it just seems like if you really look at the objects, right? Like they look so man-made. They look like, car discs that someone put a carburetor or or a filter underneath. Like they both look really bad now compared to what everything's been, released lately and everything that's being recorded and even what you shared earlier about your coworker, which is great footage. Like nothing looks like this anymore. But it is interesting to think that there's possible models of it, and I really enjoy that comment where they talked about that this means there might be like a Chrysler version of a UFO, or a Nissan or whatnot, but they are similar. I did enjoy that. I just these don't look good. Like they just don't look good. I don't know what you think. And as the believer, they're not good. I don't think they're good.
Yeah, I mean, my first impression just going over the article a little bit earlier in the week was where are the sources for any of these pictures? So, the person's putting these side by side as evidence, and I kind of poked around a little bit at the static bangs user just to see like what are they into and those kinds of things. And static bang is posting a lot of UFO related pictures and video. Some of them look absolutely fake, some of them look pretty decent. But what bothered me on this one is how do we evaluate something like this? Because just looking at like the details on the post, there's nothing, there's no details. And like let's just kind of go over it real quickly. Right, is the big claim here, right, is that these are the same UFOs. So first of all, they look different.
They do. The left and the right one, like the one on the left looks a little bit more aerodynamic, but even then it's still not aerodynamic. And then the lights, like I just don't know. They're not the same. It could be similar. Like, like let's say a 1964 Mustang doesn't look like a 2023 Mustang, but it resembles it. And I think that's what they're trying to push in this, that it's similar to it. So,
Yeah.
is there models? Like, I don't know. I've always thought these have been fake just because of the whole after Roswell, the amount of fakes that started coming through and people throwing frisbees, and obviously the infamous I want to believe like that one's been proven fake. So it's in that same era from when it's from, and then it's continued on. Definitely not a drone.
Okay, so here's my question to you. So first of all, I think the top comment is the one about the makes and the models, right? Which kind of puts it into a category of like these are probably just I think like you mentioned, right, like a different versions Mustangs, right?
Yeah, they all resemble like like the current Mustang and maybe 10 years ago Mustang, and then maybe even like 40 years ago. They all resemble each other. They all have like characteristics of what makes a Mustang a Mustang. Same thing like a Ford Taurus. Like it could be that, but I don't. These things are not even kind. It's kind of the same. But even them being kind of the same, they look fake. They look horribly fake.
And that's why I want to know like where is the evidence coming from? Because if we're going to evaluate a claim like this, right? Here's what you'd need. Here's what I would want to have in order to do like the fair shake at it, right? I'd want to know where was the photo taken, which they do have general locations. So they have what did they list? New Mexico, I think, or Mexico and Texas. Mexico and Texas, right?
Yeah, the city in Mexico is like south of the capital, so it's like almost central Mexico.
Okay.
It's around a big lake, like because I looked it up before we looked into it. So it looks like a big lake where it's near the city that city Octlan,
Okay.
Octotlan, I think that's what it's called. So it's not a super metropolis city. But it's not a small city either.
Okay. So we generally have like a generally we have a location. We don't have like a time. We don't have who snapped the photo. We don't have details like what the camera was. Did anyone else see it? There's like no sources really in the article. It's just a clipping of two
Well,
pictures, right?
while doing a minor research for the Texas UFO, is the Texas UFO was a very well-known documented incident that happened in
Okay.
2008 in Texas, and it was all over the news, and there's multiple images of it, so there isn't just one specific image for that UFO from 2008.
That's
There's
the
news
context I
articles.
needed. Yes. Thank
Yeah,
you.
so that wasn't shared in the post, but just minor. You type in Texas UFO in 2008, and there's a couple of news articles that pop up.
Okay, great. So you have context on this one. So you know the
Yes, the thing is, there's no like footage of it. It's just I think pictures of it,
okay.
and it was in a similar situation, not a super big town. Um, you know, somewhat south of the major capital, a super small town. I think the city was known as Stephenville, Texas, is what I'm reading, and yeah, multiple people saw it, but I
Okay.
don't think anybody recorded it.
Aside from the snapshots.
Yeah,
Well, what's your take on it? What do you think about the 2008 Texas photo?
I don't know enough about it. There isn't enough video or pictures, and it's just like a couple random pictures that look like this specific UFO. The same thing with the one from 1993. Like, but I think Texas and that part of Mexico are like hotspots for UFOs too. I mean, they'll say that about every single city that experiences a lot of UFOs. That's like a hotspot. I mean, Burbank, California was a hotspot for a while also, and I've never experienced a UFO in Burbank
Burbank
ever.
was really a UFO hotspot.
Yeah, a couple of years ago it was like a hotspot.
Yeah, come on. Come on, that's all Hollywood. Hollywood's doing
Yeah,
that.
definitely. I did experience something strange one time. There's three lights on top of the Verdugo Mountains that I couldn't explain. Could have been a plane. It didn't look like a UFO, but three lights on top of it. I thought it was like kind of strange.
Were they blinking?
No, they weren't. It was three like
Okay.
gold lights on top of the Verdugo Mountains. Could have been cars, trucks. I mean, there is a road up there, so. But getting back to the Texas thing, I think the Texas one was documented. I know nothing about the Mexico one. Like I couldn't find anything on it, and that's obviously a much older one. But I mean, Mexico is a giant hub for UFO activity. Like they say in Mexico City, like there's just so much UFO activity there, and I guess that's why the culture there is like welcomes it a bit. Like I said, like as I remember as a little kid, it's always been part of like our culture. Like there's this weird connection to UFOs. The Aztecs and even like the southern part closer to the Mayans, like they had weird pictures, and they say that some of the gods they're depicted as like kind of like aliens, the whole ancient
Wow.
alien theory. But
Hmm.
I don't know. I know a lot of people in Mexico that have seen a lot of UFOs, have experienced a lot of weird things.
I mean,
So the
how
culture's
monitored
there.
is their airspace? Like, that's my first
Probably, I don't. I
question.
mean, the Mexican Air Force. There is a Mexican Air Force
Yeah,
because they're the ones that spotted the Tic Tacs on San Diego, that they were
right.
moving north. And then there's the infamous one of the 21 flight of them. Like they recorded it, and the one that they're like, holy shit! Look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They're counting them. So they do have a military. They do have an Air Force. So none of that information might be disclosed like that.
Okay.
I don't
Well,
know enough, but
yeah,
I
and
think they're fake.
here's
I
my
think they're fake.
yeah, here's my problem with this post and sort of like the aliens in general, the aliens subreddit, is that it feels like it's a little club where people have you're supposed to have all the full context from the start of history, right? About because like you're mentioning this Texas UFO, right? Is like a famous one. So when I hear something like that, my first thoughts are, okay, they're taking something that's really well known and they're applying it in some kind of synthesis way, right? Like, oh, hey, I found this thing in the past. But then look at just how low effort this post is. It's like a line of text and then two pictures of things that look kind of similar together, and it's like, this doesn't feel
Eh,
quality to me. Like I just
It's not quality. It's just put out there to like maybe get clout. That's what it is there. Because how come no one's made the observation of like the whole infamous the Phoenix lights, right? Like
right.
the triangle shape, right? And how many times do we get videos, pictures, and stuff like that of like other incidents, and no one's ever compared that, saying like, "Hey, are these similar? Is this the same fleet of aliens or fleet of UFOs that have went over the Phoenix Lights?" Like, how come that hasn't happened? And I think that's where I I think there's like some minor differences. It's just people making coincidental connections, you know.
Yeah, so for me personally, I'm gonna say thumbs down on this post as I don't like it. I don't think it provides any evidence. There's no context. It's you have to come already as a believer in order to understand what's going on in this particular post. And obviously 5,000 more than 5,000 people upvoted this. So more than 5,000 people. This was the most popular article in all week on the aliens category. So obviously this resonated with people, but it doesn't resonate with me at all.
Yeah, it didn't do anything for me either. Like I didn't think it was like, you know, it was capturing anything or it was trying to tell us like, hey, there's models, and I think that's what you're trying to say. Like there's specific
Good.
like car models or airplane models, and I didn't capture that much. I just think they're just similar shape, different areas, different times. I
I
think
do
the
like that
confusion.
comment though. I like that idea that, you were taking something familiar that's very accessible for people to understand, which is we do cars and models, so why wouldn't aliens or other beings do something like that? And it makes perfect sense to me for sure.
Yeah, that
So,
does. It could be. There could be models like
sure.
like the triangles, these flying saucers, the tic tacs, um, the circles, the spheres. What else is there? I don't. What am I missing? The
Ball
cigars, like the super
lightning.
ball lightning, super motherships.
Yeah,
The
see, I'm
Millennium
paying
Falcon.
attention. I'm paying attention, man. I'm starting to build up the UFO. I'm gonna be a ufologist in like 2 years. Just watch.
That's what that you're gonna have conventions. Have
Yeah.
people come and pay to watch you to talk.
And I'll be posting on the
Just
subreddit with a picture that only the true believers will understand and fuck
be like,
everybody
you gotta
else.
believe me.
Yeah.
It's on the same level as like, hey, our Bigfoot's interdimensional. Let's discuss. It's like this. Like, hey, do UFO have models? Let's discuss.
Yeah. All right, well, that's going to wrap up our aliens post. Let's hop into cryptozoology.
Oh, this is gonna be a good one.
So, this is coming from the Humanoid Encounters subreddit. 871 upvotes. Most people, like literally everybody, just said that this was great. That's what the spice meter is. 73 comments. So, not a lot of comments on this. Typically, this
Definitely
is
not.
one of the lower categories in terms of like participation, but it's also, I think, one of the more interesting personally.
Definitely, I found it interesting. Because it's like it's someone telling a story of like what they experience. Dark humanoid attacks farmer and his family, right? I think that's what the verbiage was.
Yeah, so why don't you start off with this one and just walk us through it since this is your passion project this week.
All right, so ends up being that this family is somewhere in Italy, I believe, right? I think I closed the tab here, but they experienced something. Experienced that it's hostile and it's like wearing this weird fish suit, has like red eyes, or they think it's like a mask, and they encounter it and it's like hostile towards them, and they share the story off of that. Dude, I got total predator vibes from this. What's going on in Peru and everything. That's what I thought the minute I saw the second picture. If you could share that,
Oh
that's
yeah, yeah. Let me
exactly
get
what
it
I
going.
thought. I thought it was like the predator, and that's what I wanted to discuss. Like it's just totally that. Like you're not telling me that doesn't look like the predator.
It looks like the Predator. So
I
much,
mean,
man.
which is just amazing. Now, what year did Predator come out in? Did it come out the same year?
Oh, did it come out in '89? There's no way. There's no way.
I mean, if it came out in '89, that would explain which is the original and the Predator.
That would be fantastic if it came out in like
Let me see. Let me
'88.
try to get that information really
Yeah,
quick.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
1987.
oh, okay. So yeah, so it's already
It's
part of the vocabulary of
it's already
culture.
part of the
Yeah.
vocabulary. It's Predator. Now, I've heard many stories, many shared encounters of like beings that look like the Predator, especially what's happening in Peru. I've had
Hmm.
something weird happen to me like that too, that I saw something like glowing or like see through like that. But dude, this just has total Predator vibes, that it was like hostile. Like go back to the first picture, and you know how it
Yeah,
has like red beams like going out, dude. That's that
yeah.
Predator's little gun on the side. That it's like, that's exactly what I thought. Like I don't know what you thought, but I thought that was great. The only thing is, yes, the movie is still fresh. 2 years old by this point, but um, and it's the family telling, I guess, their story and their encounter. And I totally skipped that, dude. I just went straight to like, this is the Predator. That thing looks like the Predator, has a laser, it's floating. It has weird extraterrestrial vibes, Predator vibes in me. Um,
Yeah. So here's the stuff that I love about this, right? We've got all the details that we need to evaluate it as like an actual claim. We got the who, what, when, where, and why, right? Well, we don't have the why, but we have everything else that's like relevant for at least placing it in time. 1989, we've already started to dig into the context of the Predator being, in the culture. Although, to be fair, was the Predator part of the culture in Italy? Like, I don't know how world releases go at the time.
Probably not at the time. I don't know when it started becoming a cult classic. It takes a couple years, right, for that to happen. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's right away. So, but Arnold at the time, dude, was already a superstar. He was a super world renowned,
Hmm.
world known star. So it could be that too. Like maybe some people are trying to get some clout for it too. But I mean, he was already Terminator was already done. Terminator 2 hadn't come out. Predator, Commando, what other Arnold big flick movies? Like he was super big star during this time.
Romancing the Stone.
Romancing the Stone, yeah, like all. Isn't that Michael Douglas? That's the wrong
Oh, it
actor.
was. Oh, you know what happened? I was thinking Danny DeVito, so I was thinking Twins, and
Twins, yeah, that's
came out wrong.
that's but good movie too. Romancing the Stone is a good movie, but total
Totally, yeah.
Terminator, total Predator vibes, and like I said, I totally ignored the story, and once I saw the picture, I was like, dude, that's the Predator. Ryan and I are gonna talk, and I was like, it's the Predator. It's Predator.
Well,
It's
let me
that's what they're
do
going by.
let me do a quick breakdown of the story just so that we have recorded, so we can like splice it in maybe a little bit later. Um, so this is in Italy, 1989. Two elderly farmers from Florentine countryside one morning reported seeing a dark sphere descend silently over their field like a breath. From the sphere came a being dressed in a black colored jumpsuit. That's pretty intense, okay? Like this is a
Okay, but
huge
wait,
claim.
you're absolutely right? But it has that vibe already. If it's too well descriptive, it's too already juicy. It's got too much sauce in it.
It is very
Versus like
juicy.
it's very juicy, but it's captivating and this is well done. Go on.
Okay. So the being had long dark hair and huge red eyes, which frightened the farmers and their dog. He also seemed to be wearing some helmet, or perhaps the large eyes were some visor. This incident was repeated 4 other times in the same field. That's a lot of times.
I
That's not
mean,
a one
didn't
off.
that's I mean, the same thing's happening in Peru, and I think that's why people are bringing this up, maybe, or maybe they're sharing the stories. Like, because not only has it happened in Peru, right, and we've had encounters there, they're saying that this has also happened in Italy, and it's also happened in other places too. Like, I think it's happened here in the United States, where that famous those trackers that reported it, and I listened to it on Coast to Coast. I can't remember their names, but they talked about their strange encounter that they were out there hunting pelts, and I think it was beaver pelts is what they were, and that they came across it and they took a picture of it, and the picture like got scrambled. They took it to the phone company, and the phone company said that nothing was altered to it, and even people have broken down the picture, the information on it, and they're saying nothing is altered, and it's just like a weird picture of something. Doesn't look like anything, but they swear that they encountered the predator. So there's multiple stories.
Yeah, and after this, I'll share one that happened up in
Okay.
Portland. And I know you have a personal one too, so we can
Yeah.
definitely highlight that too. So the farmer's name nicknamed the being as the Fish Man. That's the name of the article came from, by the way. Because the individual did not walk but floated in the area, moving like a fish in water. All right, this is an otherworldly experience by all accounts. I, this is a lot going on. All right, so they didn't talk to anybody. Um, Kept on coming by. They armed themselves with pitchforks. They approached the sphere and the flying creature in a threatening manner. However, the man was not able to get too close because the flying being fired a beam of light from his eyes at the poor farmer, paralyzing him completely. At the same time, the farmer's terrified wife screamed, "Come back, otherwise this will kill us. Let's run away." Luckily for them, the being actually re-entered his craft, which this time left making a loud noise. And then at first, the farmers thought that the being was having problems with his craft and actually approached to help. However, the being shouted at them, "Do not come nearer because it will burn you." And they've got a source in here too from UFO in Italia Vol 6 and UFO in Italian. I don't know the phrase, but there is a source in here, so we could actually, look that up and see more details on it. But
Well,
man, what
apparently
a
it's a
story.
book. It's a paperback book.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's an Italian paperback book about, I guess, the UFO encounters. I just like Google translated for me.
So yeah, it is very specific, but to be fair, if you had something visiting you 4 or more times, I imagine you would be very specific with your details.
Yeah, but it still has that vibe of it's just like it's way too descriptive. It's
Hmm.
interesting, and I think they're trying to piggyback off of what's been going on in Peru and what's still going on in Peru. Apparently, there's been other cases recently that have popped up again that it's popped up again.
Who's
I
the
don't know if you
they?
noticed.
The original poster, or because this
No, it's
happened in
like news. There's
1989?
been no. The thing that's been going on in Peru that they've been encountering what's it seems it looks like the predator also like the recordings of that. I don't know if you've seen that at the mining city, and the government is saying that it's like mining like pirates or something like that, and they have rocket packs that are causing them to float around. Like, I'm not making this up. This is what the actual government said over there. You know this. We've talked about this a
We
few
have
weeks
talked
ago.
about this. Yeah, I'm just still just when you say it out loud, it's
and
just so.
it sounds so ridiculous, right? Like it's just like, yeah, it's dude, but they're saying that it looks like the predator. The Peruvians are saying it looks like the predator. This guy's,
Oh my
I mean, to
god.
me, the minute I saw the images of what they drew, I was like, this is the predator. He's got the laser, the little beam, don't get close. He's got a mask on too, it's not
Hmm.
like I don't know. The spaceship, they also came in a spaceship. I don't know if you've seen Predator 2, their spaceship.
Oh yeah, Predator 2 is amazing. Danny Glover, right?
Yeah, wasn't it New York where they went?
Yeah,
Is that where
yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
went? Yeah. Good movie.
Great ending.
I don't even remember it. It was so long ago,
The
maybe like
ending
20
was
years
like the.
ago.
Oh my god, you haven't seen, dude. The ending was like Danny Glover survives and he gets. Oh, okay, you just have to watch it. I'm not gonna
I've
spoil it
seen
for
it. I
you.
remember it, but I don't
Okay.
remember the ending. Like I don't remember so long ago.
So okay, so here's my take on this one. I'm gonna say it's got all the features to evaluate. However, it is just a testimonial. It's just a story from. Oh, I'm guessing one person. It's I haven't read the source, so I can't really say if it was multiple people, but it seems like it's from a remote area, and it's definitely a story. It feels very, very specific. It feels very manufactured. Like it's hard to quantify that too. I think this is something that we started to talk about was just along the lines of like the R no sleep and just the um that
It's too
whole.
well done, I think, is what.
Yeah, it's literature. It's not a personal. It's more feels like it's more literature than it is like a personal accounting of something. It's got
Yeah.
that feel to it, right?
It
So
definitely does. It's just like almost a little too well polished and pitched, where someone would just explain like, "Hey, this is what happened to my grandparents. That's this
yeah,
weird situation." Like I think that's how most people would explain it, not sit there and be like, "Hey, I read this in this book," and it just seems they took a adaptation of the book and then just add a little bit more to it. But if you look at the book, the UFOs and aliens in Italy, technology, weapons, and equipment is literally the name of one of the books that it's adapted from, and it tells you about strange encounters in Italy. Um, it goes all the way back up to 1995, so it's like pre 95, and it's been updated.
so this can't
Should
be a
be.
thumbs down from me. It's also not a thumbs up. I don't think that I can evaluate whether or not this happened at the
I love
level.
the alien predator theory. Like I really hope that's what they are. Get the
Yeah,
thumbs
well,
up for
hey,
me.
all right. So this is a thumbs up for you. You think that this is
Yeah,
enough
like I
evidence to
loved
say it
it. I
happened?
loved it. As much as like it has so much like sauce in the writing, like I enjoy a good like alien predator story like that. Like I was like, maybe they are hostile like that. At the
I,
end of the
I
day, it's kind of frightening if they are hostile and they do come and they do show themselves like, oh man, we don't have a chance.
yeah, I think this is too story like for me to give thumbs up, and also I can't really like it's personal accounting. I can't really like thumbs it down either. So that's where we'll
You said
land.
you had a story though that happened, or you know something that happened.
Well, we've talked about this before, like a couple times, because you told me your personal story, which I will hope you'll share like after this. But
Yeah.
like, I got real interested in that phenomenon and was just like, hey, where else is this happening? Because uh, you're a reasonable person. You have a different belief system than I do, but you're also someone that I don't think you're
Yeah, I'm
making
not crazy,
stories
bro.
up. Yeah,
Like I
exactly.
it's one of these stories that I don't share that often. I don't say anything because it's gonna make me look completely crazy. Like the Bigfoot thing is one thing. This is another thing. Like I could not explain it. And I don't know if you want to share yours, and I'll then share the story.
So it's not a personal experience, but what happened was I just started looking around and I was like, okay, wow, there's actually a lot of reported encounters, and when I say a lot, I mean it was around I don't know, maybe around 10. This was like a couple years ago that I looked into this, but it was the same kind of experience where a person was out in the woods in Oregon, suddenly felt a stillness in the forest, right? Or at least most of them had a stillness in the forest as like one of the features, and they noticed the stillness in the forest, and then started looking around, and then saw an outline of something move, and just kind of like stand there for a while, and eventually started to back off. And there was a lot of reported encounters that fell into this category
I mean,
in
that's
Oregon.
how, in a nutshell, like you
Yeah.
explain what happened to me. Like I'm hiking up to Cracker Ridge here in the Angeles National Forest, and there's an old abandoned ski place, right? And I wanted to take it up the difficult route, right, which is the north face. Historically, the north face tends to be the most challenging part, right? So I decided to go up Cracker the stupid way, the dumb way. And I go up and I'm about halfway up and maybe I don't want maybe like 500 feet away from me, I could see what looks like, as you describe, it's this weird transparent thing that I could see like an outline, and it's like hugging the wall, kind of like fog, but it's see through and you could see it. But it's far away from me where I'm not concerned. But I was like, what the hell is this? And it was moving fast, like from my right to my left, like it was going across the mountain quickly, and it was like oddly hugging it, and it looked like the predator, like clear like the predator. And I just stood there and I was like, what is that? And then it just went away from me and it kept going away, going away, going away. And I'm like, all right, I feel okay. I was a little worried. I'm going the opposite direction of what it is. And after that, I kind of like I double timed it because it was getting dark, and it did worry me a little bit. And I got to the top, and I know at the bottom of this abandoned ski resort, there are people live down there. They had the family that used to own it. So I quickly got up. I took a couple pictures, and I just went straight down. And like I decided to take the road back. I didn't want to come. I didn't feel comfortable coming back the other way anymore. And like I didn't come home. I didn't make a YouTube video about it. I didn't make an Instagram post. I just kind of was like, I don't know what I experienced. I don't know what that was. And obviously, I go online and abnormal news, and I start researching like how you did, and I start finding everything. I was like, oh wow, that's exactly what I experienced. And I heard the coast to coast interview. I think it was like George Norrie or George and Apple's interviewing, and it was a couple that experienced, and they experienced the same thing, and saying like we saw the predator, like they described it as the predator. I'm not gonna say it looked exactly like the predator, but it was something like outlined that I can't describe. It looked more like a cloud to me than it looked like, let's say, a person. But it was weird.
It's so
And I
exciting, just like so when I hear something like that, like the first thought that I had when we originally talked about this was Is this some weird like artifact of like your eyes or your psychology of being out alone in the forest? Sort of like a seeing an oasis, like an
Yeah,
illusion,
something
right?
like
Something like
that.
that.
Like maybe the elevation up there for
Yeah.
context is maybe like 8,000 feet. And down at Los Angeles level, the elevation is like I think like what we're like 200 feet. So I do go up a high amount. I've never had any elevation sickness at all. Like I've been up to like 10,000 plus, and I've never experienced that. So, have I gotten dizzy going up quickly? Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I'll lose breath and stuff like that. I'll feel weird, and that's because like I'm not intaking a lot of oxygen, and that's like the beginning of it. So could have been that possibly, but I wasn't at that moment it happened. I was not that. I did not feel like that.
Okay, so
I
that's
was
one possibility, right? Is that it's psychological or a feature of your eyesight at elevation or something like that. Another one is, I mean, imagine if it's like actually the government, they have some kind of technology and they're out there training.
which I've have heard that they do like the Uber Soldate. They'll do things like that. Like they'll have super soldiers and they'll do like masking or some weird thing, or they're experimenting. So it could have been that, and that's why that cloud might have been actually a person behind it, and it was just kind of like trying to cloak itself because they know that there are people up there, and they might have been out there like researching or trying the suit just to see how well it adapts to an environment. And I could have accidentally come across it. Like I also looked that up, but the thing is, there isn't really that close a military base by there. Like there's no, it's far. It's like Palmdale, which is like
Hmm.
at least an hour and 45-minute drive. So from Los Angeles, from there it's even further because it's like down the mountains and there's no back way. But I have heard that too.
Okay, then another option is it's invisible Bigfoot.
Yeah, no, I don't think it was in Bigfoot. I don't, because this was different. This was like a different vibe. Like, as much as like I want to believe in Bigfoot and say that there's a bipedal out there and there's a Gigantopithecus, like this felt different. This felt real. Like I physically saw it with my own two eyes. Versus
Yeah.
Bigfoot, I've only had like weird noises, tapping, strange smells, and that could, there's lots of things that could account for that, and maybe the way the trees release and everything, and the knocking the trees, like a lot of weird things happen in the forest. But this was like on a different level,
Well,
like
it could have
and
been
I
a predator. It could have been like like a cryptid
which
too,
I yeah which I don't
right?
want to think it was, because then I don't want to go. Like I
Hmm.
haven't gone back to that area since it's happened.
Yeah, I can imagine
Like
just
I
having
do
that
not
experience.
feel, yeah, I do not feel comfortable. There's a great camping ground there right by there, not far at all, like a quarter of a mile, maybe even less than that, maybe like an eighth of a mile from where I was at. Instead of going left up the mountain, you go right, and there's a great camping. Like I do not even feel comfortable going there. Like I will never go there alone again. Is how I felt that it's there, then around there.
To clarify for the viewers, I do identify as a skeptic. However, I think cryptids are a really interesting area of sort of the paranormal sphere, abnormal sphere, because we're just finding crap all the time, finding all kinds of odd new species all the time. And the idea that something could be out there that is like what Chris is describing right now and be an animal, and it sounds ridiculous on the face of it, an animal with stealthing capabilities, so people haven't found it in Los Angeles. Like it doesn't
But
sound.
chameleons have stuffing capabilities,
Yeah.
and even certain insects, so it could be a big animal that has it. Like I wouldn't, but as the one thing that I forgot to mention, it did that thing that everybody shares in the story, that whatever it was, it got oddly quiet. Like
Yeah.
nothing was making noise. There was no wind, there was no animal sounds, this and that. And I've heard people tell me that are like, well, it's because you're the apex predator, and nature knows that you're an apex predator also, like you're the highest up there. And I was like, no man, this was different. This is a different
Hmm.
feeling. I've had that happen before out there, and people that go with me, I'll tell them that too. And I was like, you notice it gets eerily quiet? Like there's no bugs, there's no birds, there's no wind, there's nothing. It's just like a flat, uneasy silence is what happened.
And I'm telling you, that was like the core feature. People, that's the thing that stood out to me. There was also one story that someone had about um, being in downtown Portland, I think it was,
Hmm.
and they experienced this. It was like late at night, and they saw something behind like trash cans or whatever, and they felt like it was following them home. And they could just be someone drunk in the middle of the night, making up a story. And it's not like you can get, you know, uh, downtown to be still, right? There's not a
Yeah.
lot of animals to start with, but it's
The
really, really
forest is
interesting.
lively, is what I've
Yeah.
always when I'm out there, it's lively. There's always noise, chirping, birds, movement, animal movement, and
Hmm.
it's lively. The forest is always lively out there. Wind,
Yep.
um, but yeah, that was like something else. And yeah, Cracker Ridge, that area, I haven't gone back. It's super secluded. I never run into a person there. Um, One of the more popular mountains is Mount Waterman, and that's because it's like off-roading. You could mountain bike there, and you could also dirt bike there, and there's a lot of camping and hiking in that area. So there's always people there. That's like where that this happened. It's east of it, and it's not visited often. It's considered like the high country, um, remote. That officer, that sheriff that disappeared, was also in that area too, not too far from there. A Jai, some officer that was running sheriff, he disappeared out there. Oddly enough, he started off in an area called Devil's Punch Bowl, and I've
Hmm.
always heard about people saying like anytime there's a name that has like Devil's Punch Bowl, Devil's Chair, Desolate Island, Dead Man's, mountain, like that always has. It's named that for a reason.
Well, you heard it
Nice.
here, folks. First, if you want to catch the predator, you know where to go now in
Oh
California.
man. Yeah. But yeah, dude, it was interesting event that happened to me. I do not share it often. It's a story I keep to myself a lot of the time because I think people think I'm crazy. Versus the Bigfoot stuff is just like, you're just pulling my leg. Whereas this is
Yeah.
like this is something else. Is how I felt.
Ah, dude,
Did
it
I
sounds like it stayed with me all these years, like since you told me that story. And like I said, I immediately was like trying to find out online
Yeah,
how
because you
many
tried
other
to
people.
disprove like what if you're
No, I
like,
was
no,
really
dude.
curious because, like I said, that's why I wanted to put the asterisk on the cryptids thing because there's all kinds of stuff we don't know that's out there. Like we've
Yeah.
had this conversation on here a couple times, but just the vastness of the forest is huge, right? And the reality is that even though humans exist, we're not out in the forest hunting stuff. Like unless there's like a research or there's like a monetary
No.
reason to go out
Not in
there.
even not even in this one, the Angeles National Forest. Like it's not like no one really like lives in there, right? And I have another strange story there. This didn't happen to me, but obviously when I go out there for like my YouTube content and like my hiking stuff and even the Bigfoot stuff, I'll ask people, "Hey, what strange things have happened to you here?" Right? And it's me trying to fish for Bigfoot stories, right? And half of them are Bigfoot, and the other half are like, yeah, I've had something strange happen to me. And one of them that stayed stuck with me, like the story that got stuck with you, was this guy was like, yeah, he's like, I was coming down from the Mount Hillier, the back trail that no one ever takes. It's like an old closed road, right? He says, and I was the only person there. He says I went the back way where the road is locked during November till April because it snows up there. So he says I went up that way. He says, and I had just gotten new snow tires, so I wanted to go out and test them. So I'm coming down, and it's not a long trail, but it's like secluded, very mountainous, very beautiful area, Mount Hillier area. And he said that he's coming back down, and he's coming across up on this one campground called Chalal campground, right? And when he comes up to it in the middle of this road, which is like a old forest road, which is also like a fire road. They use it like in case of fires, they go up that way and they could go, you know, around the fire if there's a fire, they could try to cut it off. He says that he finds a deer's head in the middle of the road, just completely cut off, and that it had been recently placed there in the middle. And he stopped and he looked up to the side of the mountain, and he says that He says there was fresh snow. He's like, but the head hadn't rolled down, but that it was perfectly placed in the middle with its tongue sticking out, and it was facing him, and it was just like put there, like put there, and that he stopped and he looked at it, and he looked that there was no tracks to the left of him, no tracks to the right of him, and it seems like he made it seem like it got dropped there, and he panicked, got in his bike, and then took off quickly. And he was telling me, he's like, yeah, man, he's like, that's the strangest and weirdest thing. He's like, and the scariest thing that's ever happened to him, because he's like, well, what put it there? And
Mm-hmm.
how did it get there?
Right.
He's like, its head had been cut off, like completely, like no guts, nothing like that, like just cut off and then placed there. And he couldn't explain it. He's like, I couldn't, like, I've come across dead deer in the mountains, and it's never like how he explained it, the head. And the way he explained it, I could tell like he wasn't lying to me. But he was like, yeah, man, I've experienced some weird things like that. But he's like, definitely that was the weirdest thing. He's like, and I never feel comfortable coming out this way. Like at night, he says he won't go there anymore. This is just some random person I met in the mountains. Like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, man, how's it going? How you doing today? And, do you want like trade snacks, or you want some water or anything like that? You're good. Yeah. Making small talk. And then he sees that I'm recording, and I'm telling him about like strange Bigfoot stuff. And I ask him like, what's something weird? And he tells me the weird story. But I was like, okay.
You have that
And I
recording?
don't, no, I didn't. Like I tell
Oh
you,
man. Damn.
half the time, the people do not want me to record them.
Wow.
And if I do, they'll tell me, can you not record me? And then out of respect, I'll turn it off. Like most people do not like being recorded.
I feel
And
it. I
yeah,
feel
like
it.
they're like, no, I don't want to be, I don't want to. And then one of the other, another, another good story somebody told me, says that they were cowboy camping in this other campground. What was it? Not Sulphur Springs, Cooper Canyon. And this is like nothing like paranormal, but this is how dangerous the mountains could be.
Mm-hmm.
So he's cowboy camping, and he's like in his early 20s during this time. And he tells us that this campground, there wasn't even stoves, there wasn't even like tables when he was doing it. It was just a flat land, a weird fire pit, and that was it. And he was cowboy camping. For those of you that don't know what cowboy camping is, like literally just a mat and your sleeping bag and you and the stars, nothing protecting you. So he says he's sitting there like kind of like standing up, but laying down at the same time, kind of like not prone, but just like looking up. And he has his feet pointing towards the fire pit, and he sees what he thinks is a squirrel moving towards him. So he's sitting there looking at it, and he's got his gun on the side just in case he thinks it's like maybe like a bear, but he could tell by the size that it's not. It keeps getting closer and closer. And as it gets closer and closer, he realizes this is a bigger animal. So each little by little, it would get closer and closer, and it would drag a little bit and try to be silent to let him know, like maybe it's trying to pick up his food that he left around there, or drops. As it gets closer, he says that he finally sees what it is, and he gets up. And when he gets up, he says the mountain lion also gets up with him.
Oh shit.
And then he just pulls out
Oh.
his gun, and he just stands up really slow, and that the thing just gets up, turns around, and gallops away. So it was
Stalking
crawling
him.
towards him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was gonna eat him pretty much.
Oh man.
And he was saying, he's like, yeah, I'm more scared of of that than people. He's like, the mountain lions here, they're not scared of humans.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
man. You got to
yeah,
worry
that
about
was
everything out there. Like people.
yeah,
I mean, you've
yep,
heard some of the crazy ass stories of people
uh-huh,
out there, right? Yeah. Just,
yep.
yeah. You
But
get away
yeah,
from the city, man.
I mean, out
All
there,
bets
like
are off.
you could encounter a crazy, and no one's gonna know about it until you're gone, if anything does happen to you bad.
Yeah.
But definitely the mountain biker story about the deer with its head cut off, with the tongue sticking out. That one like always stayed stuck with me. And I really wish you would have let me record. I could put it up on my YouTube channel to share with you. We could have used it as like reference, but the only thing I have someone recorded was that gentleman that used to climb Mount Baldy every day, and he died at that mountain. And I recorded him a little bit earlier before he passed away. I recorded him sometime like maybe in October, and this gentleman died like in January. Just kind of sad. I had things like that.
Yeah. If anyone has any like on YouTube, if anyone is watching this and they have like a camping story where things just get hairy like this or incredibly scary or odd, toss it in the comments. We definitely wanna hear it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I always love a good campfire story, man.
They are the best, like I have to say.
Absolutely. I always tell these stories when I'm camping out with my friends, and my friends are like, "Bro, are you serious? Like, you're telling me the story, and then
Yeah,
we're out here."
I
I was
know,
like, "Yeah,
man.
it's not too far from here, actually." But
Everyone's
I,
scared to go to
I,
sleep after that.
I always think about too, like, I was like, dude, what put that deer head there? Like, what did that?
Yeah, it had to be a person.
But there was no tracks. Like, how do you explain it? Because that's what we talked about. Like, how did it get there? He's like, because he said it didn't even have snow on the head. Like, there had
Yeah,
just been fresh snow. And he says you could tell the difference when it's fresh than when it's been there because it'll have like a specific consistency. And I know exactly what he's talking about. And he said that it was like fresh snow and then a head on top of it, like put on top of it.
you want me to say aliens? It's not
I
aliens.
I I don't think it's alien. I think it was something else.
Yeah,
I couldn't. I mean, apex predator, something,
you think it was a predator? You think it was?
some type of. I don't know if it was a predator, but I wouldn't be surprised. Is where I'm going with it.
Man, well, where are the tracks then, Chris?
I mean, it's a predator.
I guess the in this article, the fish man does float. He does fly.
Yeah, I mean,
So
yeah, I'm never going to the mountains again.
I'm
I
too old for
haven't
this
gone.
shit,
Oh
right?
my god. Yeah, that's exactly.
All right, let's hop
Let's go.
into
Yeah.
next article. All right, coming up, conspiracy. This is coming from the conspiracy subreddit with about 3K upvotes and about 20% people disagreeing with 894 comments. The fact that the biggest backlash in my career and life I'm facing after saying Jesus is real is such a revelation to me. So hit me up with the context on this one because I know you were looking into it, and I have a little bit of details to
So
share
for
too.
whatever reason, YouTube just recommended a video to me about MIA and talking about like how her career has taken like a hit. And what the being is was this. I guess she said that I guess she had some type of spiritual moment and that she like saw Jesus or found Jesus and she put it out there and then how it's been affecting her career, like how it's just been it's been such a bad press for her because she pretty much I think she came out saying like Jesus is real and I don't know why it came up. Like I don't listen to MIA. Like I'm not a big follower. I don't know, maybe because I was like listening to music one day randomly, Paper Planes, and it popped out, and then maybe the algorithm. But it was just so weird that that happened last week. I saw that video, and then this popped up this week. I was just like, wow, that's really weird. I had no idea. And is that's just the context of it. She's saying that like because she started talking about Jesus, like it killed her career.
By what metric? I mean, so this is where, okay, so if we're talking about like evaluating this, right? This is a claim coming straight from MIA that her career got killed because she's just basically saying Jesus is real. And I think a little more context on this one is because I dug into it a little bit too. Was she wasn't saying Jesus is real, she was saying Jesus is real and she's talked to Jesus. Like it's kind of like there was like a personal interaction there,
Yeah,
which
like
a
maybe
lot
she
of people
found God.
describe.
You know?
Well, yeah, a lot of people describe their relationship in that way. Like it's they describe it in a very literal sense. So it's really not that far, I think, from um, a lot of people's experiences with religion. But I just don't understand where what by what metric she says her career is killed because she's in the news, all over the news now, and any press is good press. Um,
I mean, she's not making music anymore. She's not making it, but it's always hard for
is she?
musicians. I don't know. I really don't know. And that's what it makes it seem like she's not making music anymore. She's not relevant. She's not putting herself out there anymore.
I mean, she's
It's
not
just
relevant, but was she like super relevant when she was around? She wasn't like the Beatles or anything. She was like a pop
she
star.
made unfortunately, I'm gonna say she made a one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
She had music before that, and then she had a song that was just global success. And I think it's actually a jab at the music industry saying like she wasn't gonna make it and she made that song to like diss them. I think that's what the whole premise of the whole song is. That's not really about drugs. And now because she said she found God or saw God, now she's doesn't have like a career. Is like I think what she's trying to flip it like.
Yeah, she's trying to flip it. So that's my take. So number one, I think this is absurd that it's on the conspiracy subreddit. Where's the show me the conspiracy? Is the conspiracy that if you are Catholic, you can't succeed in the music industry? I mean, come on, give me a break. Like it seems like it's very strange to have this in that subreddit to start with. A lot of people
The
in the comments were confused about that too. Like, why is this even something we're
the ho-
talking about?
the odd thing is that video that I saw, it says the true meaning behind paper planes is what, and the backlash that she's had after that.
Right.
And it kind of covers that. And then this pops up, which I was like, oh, that's really weird. And it's a video from like 3 years ago.
Yeah, I don't
But
know.
I don't know. Like, is this? I guess the whole conspiracy is like if you are someone in the media, right, and you're famous and you're popular, right now with what is happening in the industry, that there's so much Satanism in it right now, specifically like No Doubt with Doja Cat,
There we
and I think
go. That's what
that's
it is.
that's what the conspiracy is right now. The industry is so much devil worshiping. There's so much Satanism, and now that someone says like, "Hey, I found God," at my age, and now I'm experiencing loss now. My career is now taking effect because I don't believe in the devil and I don't believe in Satanism and I'm not following it. And now I'm having backlash, where someone like Doja Cat is just absorbing all of that and making songs and saying, I don't care what you guys are talking about me. I'm still going to make this. I'm still going to remain famous and I'm still going to talk about the devil and, worship Satanism, like hail Satan is, I think. And that's what this whole conspiracy is like. You talk about Jesus and you're in the industry, they're going to delete you. That's what this is all about.
This is entirely TikTok brain rot. When you go onto TikTok and you are just scrolling around, as we have been doing the last couple months at this point, just a little bit, which we haven't really gotten any good content off of
Mm-mm.
that, by the way.
No, not really.
It's been entertaining, and I think it's kind of nice because it does illuminate some of the zeitgeist, to use a fancy word. And some of the zeitgeist is that TikTok, you scroll through and people are claiming Doja Cat satanic. They're claiming Taylor Swift is satanic because she's got like performance with robes, and they put the scary music behind it, and then everybody gets like Satanic Panic version 2.0. From I don't know, like I think you weren't alive for the Satanic Panic, were you?
Yeah, of course it was.
Was I alive?
We were alive. This happened in the 80s. We were
Yeah.
kids.
Okay, we were
The whole
kids when it
Smurf
happened.
things we
Yeah.
talked about
The
last week
smart.
was part
Okay,
of
I
the
guess that
site.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that does count. That does count. Yeah, yeah. Um, I mean, I vaguely remember there being like a stigma against metal bands, right? But this is very different. This is very different. This is people that are just looking around, kids trying to get clout, adding into Satanic Panic version 2, making all these like really weird claims that like who's the other? The Weekend. The Weekend was the other one that they were making a claim as like satanic.
But there's some weird things that they do in their videos. Like what, like if you go down that route and you watch these conspiracy theories and conspiracy videos about them, that they all do that weird, pyramid thing, and they're all wearing red blood, and it's just like, it's like, but it has to do with like also too like smart marketing, right? Like why do all fast food chain places use yellow, red, and orange? Because it, catches your eye. But people could easily flip that and say like, no, they're satanic because those are the colors of the devil, because red, and blood is so close to that, and that's what they'll use on that. But
Maybe they're
that's what
all
they
on the
said the
same
weekend.
label and they have like the same wardrobe
Maybe
available to them and the
it could be
same
also the
wardrobe
same
coordinator.
stylist, right? That's in
Yeah,
their entourage right now that does their whole record label, that this person says like, this is what everything that is, in this Interscope Records, because that's the only record company I know. They're all going to wear red, and everything that we're going to do is going to be shock and awe, and red and black is the only thing. They're all going to wear Versace a certain way because
yeah,
we have deals with this company, because they pay us to do that, and we get royalties off of that. It could be, but people just interpret it, different, right? Like the whole satanic panic from the 80s was the same thing. Like metal was the devil, pretty much. And anything that had to do with that, it turned into something else. And I think it's just that being recycled again.
All right, so my high level take on this one is that MIA is salty because her career did not advance at the level that she wanted. She's blaming it on the fact that she made some comments about Jesus, and she probably did legitimately get some backlash on that because the internet's fucking toxic. Like, that's all there is to it. If you say you like this one thing, then you've got a whole herd of people saying, well, why do you hate all these other things that aren't that one thing?
it's
Like,
it's absolutely it's true. It's like it's I agree with you 100%. She talked about Jesus, and she probably did get some backlash. Maybe her fans were like, oh, that's what
yeah.
started it all.
Well, she's not like, her music isn't like spiritual, Jesus-esque, right? Like, it was
I
more
don't know
edgy.
anything else besides Paper
It was like
Planes,
Paper
to be
Planes, yeah, me
honest.
either, to be
That's
honest.
it.
Well, that's the problem, MIA. Come up with a hit, and you won't have to worry about your religious beliefs, I guess. All right.
She has other songs too, but I've never even like I'm listening to one of them right now. I'm just like, okay, this is catchy, but
It's not on any of your playlists. So what's
it
your take is
definitely
the
is.
same? You've got the same. This is the
Yeah,
thumbs down,
I
not a
got a thumbs
conspiracy.
down.
All right.
I think she just didn't know how to evolve her career, and her career obviously hit an end. Didn't hit a wall because she's still relevant. She's still being put out in media, and she's still, you know, we're getting posts like that. But she hasn't released anything new, and she's not keeping up with times and not evolving as an artist,
All
which
right.
sucks. Someone
Yeah.
that aspires to possibly be something, and all of a sudden, like, yeah, you're nothing. That's a hard pill to swallow.
Well, look, it sounds like she's got some evolving personal beliefs if she's evaluating religions and coming to a different conclusion there. And you know what? Your art has to come from you as an individual. And if you're changing who you are, your art's going to change. So maybe what she needs to do is just sit with herself a little bit and let all of her changes sink in, make something new. I'm sure there'll be an audience for it. The world is
I
big.
mean, wasn't Mace like that? Like, I don't know if you remember Mace that used to be with P Diddy.
No.
Like, he found God, and then he went into like Christian rap, and like,
Oh,
and
no kidding.
after that, we didn't hear anything about him.
Well,
Because
okay.
he wasn't making any more money for them anymore. He was like, yeah, that's not what we're about.
Oh,
And
I see. From a record company. Things are a
yeah,
little bit different now, though. Like, especially with like Spotify, self-publishing, YouTube. Man, I've found so much
yeah,
amazing music that I wouldn't have found 20 years ago. Straight up on YouTube.
it's a different music environment now.
Yeah, yeah. You'll find your audience if you're just persistent. And she's got a built-in audience already, so this just sounds like career mismanagement to me, so I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah.
All right, let's get the spicy one this week.
All right, let's do it.
Coming in on the paranormal category from the r/ghost subreddit with 10K upvotes. About 20% spice ratio, so you got a lot of people downvoting this one, especially at this 10K mark. 2,287 comments. What do you see here? I'm on a work trip and scared to go back home. All right, first impressions, Chris.
They're trying to say it's a ghost, that it's some type of apparition that's going through the camera. It looks like someone blew smoke into the camera to me. It's what it looks like. Like, let's be real. I thought it was interesting. Like, as you could say, like, it looks like an effect that you could make in, After Effects, as you would say, or any type of. It just looked like it's been added. Like, it looks like it's smoke. I'm just waiting for some nerd to say, like, yeah, this is from that video game, Far Cry 2. It's
Yeah.
the smoke when you drop the nade, like, or Counter Strike. That's what I'm waiting for. I just don't think it's interesting, but I don't know. It just doesn't. It doesn't look good.
Well, there's some big claims in this one. So first of all, let's give a little bit of context because the context does matter on this one a lot. So for some context, this person lives in a gated condo in a very quiet part of town. Barely any movement past 9 p.m., especially this time of year. There's maybe 6 apartments occupied, and basically it's used for summer holidays for the most part. This particular apartment is on the ground floor, and only the direct neighbors are not around. Hardly anyone walks during the night. So this person that posted is away from home for work, and cleaner was up in there yesterday. He asked to set up the camera for security. So about 2 to 3 hours after she left, just after sunset, again, a lot of interesting details in this post. Basically went to examine a new item on the dresser. Since then, there's been countless videos of smoke and strange sounds like bangs and others that sounded like voices inside. Mostly late at night when the condo is supposed to be dead silent, and apparently everything is locked. But here's the kicker. This is the thing that I thought was really interesting. I wanted to attach the whole thing, so I guess that there's a larger video here, but they're still learning how to use Reddit. I really need your input as I'm terrified about going back home now. How can I post the full thing? I think originally this was a picture, and then the person uploaded a video, because I do remember seeing this early in the week and kind of discounting it. But that's a little bit of the context there. And I do want to point out before we even like start to pick it apart, last week you made a call, because we opened up just talking about like how we were both surprised about how there were no paranormal posts.
And this is it right here, bro. This
And
is bread and butter.
Yeah, you said specifically, don't worry, Halloween's on Tuesday, right? And then this thing like crops up around the same time frame, and everybody
I was like, don't worry, bro, it's Halloween. Don't worry, something will pop up.
And by the way,
But
this has gotten 2,000 more upvotes in the time since we snapshot the week, which is on Friday.
12,000 now.
Yeah, it's at 12,000. So people love
I don't. You know what did it for me? Like spoiled it. That made me disbelieve it instantly. Was saying like this is someone's room deodorizer. After I saw that, I was like, oh my god! Like I was just like, it instantly.
Cleaning lady shows up, turn the camera on, and then this looks like a deodorizer to me. So,
they say they're not home, but how do we know that they're not? That's the other thing.
That's what I'm saying. Look, it's the unreliable narrator. I don't know how to use Reddit. I'm new to this, and I'm scared to go home. Here's my aerosol can photo.
Like, why is the door like open? Like oddly, like is that like the doorway to the living room or outside? That's the other thing.
It's hard to tell. Like really, like I tried to look at that a little bit earlier, because it looks like what it is it's either the outside hallway, but then it's kind of strange, right? Because if you look at this door that's right there, that's not going to be a neighbor, right? They're not going to put like
it could be like a bathroom, bedroom, and that. But like, why is there a door there? I mean, I don't know. Like my living room into like my kitchen, the bedroom, and stuff like. I mean, the other thing too is some of these older houses where this guy lives. Like I think he said it's like on Sunset, right? Like some of these houses are strange. Like I've had some friends and family live in that area, and the older houses and apartments have weird doors for no reason. I've experienced this, so that's why. At first I thought I was like they had their outdoor door open, but it could also be like there's a separation. But the first comment was enough for me to believe. Like I was like, yeah, this is someone's Febreze.
Oh, hold on. This is new since I looked. Let's take a look at this. Let me get this set up. Yeah.
Okay.
This is. Oh, how do I do this now? Okay, so actually we can see fine here. This is a compilation apparently from the.
Where's it at? It's on the same page.
Yeah, it's in the comments. And so basically,
how far down?
Oh, I don't know.
All right, let me see. Let me find
quite a few. I will make a compilation of all clips that the motion detector saves since that and share it here. Just not now. It's super late. I'm already scared enough. I don't want to torture myself further looking at it at these hours. And then he or she's posting the compilation. As I was suggesting, I hope it is just an air freshener. Let's see after the cleaning lady goes back and tosses it in the drawer. We should see an answer. Okay, so there is a little bit of a follow-up here. So let's... Wow, 12 minutes. We're not going to do 12 minutes, but we'll scrub through it for sure. So this must be the cleaning lady. God, I love that we're like looking through this. This is so...
Oh my God. Where did you find this? I can't even find this.
Aerosol. It's about... Man, if you just search for "I will make a compilation," it's about, I don't know, a couple hundred comments in.
I got it. I got it.
Got it? Yeah. Okay,
Okay, so I'm
so
watching it.
here's some
There's a video
photos.
on it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the audio on it.
Oh, the audio is just, it's just like background noise. There's nothing going on here.
So the context is he paid somebody to go and clean up and set up a camera, right?
Yeah, this is his cleaning lady. So he's got like some kind of cleaning service, and he said, "Hey, set up this camera for security reasons." It's like a blink camera or something, probably. I mean, look, there's literally a, well, that's an air freshener, but that's not like a
Let me go back. Let me go
an
back. Let me see.
aerosol one. Okay, so there's definitely, that's the original clip that they're showing right
So it's
here.
like on a TV. It's like a
TV
what is it? He's
stand.
got a TV stand and okay.
Okay, so it's got a whole bunch of like air stuff in it.
Yeah, so that's his whole house. I guess that's the door to bedrooms and whatnot.
Okay, so now there's a little bit of movement on the camera.
Hmm.
He could move the camera this entire time remotely and didn't decide to just turn it to look at like,
You think it's dust? Like he's got a window open and it's just pushing dust.
I don't think it's a ghost. All right, let me start with that. I think that this is definitely something that's just in there. Okay, so
See, so
apparently
for
he,
context, it's yeah, there's smoke. Like that just looks like that could be like an incense, you know? No, it's not too big. It would have to be a lot of them.
it's the ghost of Febreze. I mean, look, here's the deal, right?
He has to ask himself like why is he even recording to begin with? Like why did he set it up for security reasons? Maybe he's if he would have the person would have shared like, hey, experienced some weird paranormal activity. I kind of explained it. I finally bought a camera and I'm now gonna set it up. And now that I set it up, I'm experiencing these weird like smoke clouds. Like I don't know how to interpret this because it could be dust. Because they're gonna try to go. It's like orbs. Like there's a lot of orbs in this video. I don't believe in orbs. Like it's dust. Like
So
there's
it
a lot
feels
of
like
dust in the
VFX
house.
to me. It feels like it's an overlay of something. When you look at like the 360 view and he showed, you know, the picture of like the air freshener, that's not an air freshener. I don't think that sprays, although I don't know for certain. People are saying in the comments things like, "Oh, I turned off the Febreze," so that would indicate that it is like a timed spray, right?
Hmm.
Which I don't. Have you ever had one of those before?
Yeah, but they don't do that.
Yeah, they don't do stuff like that. But like that is like a pattern. Like if you do spray shit in the air, it is gonna slowly, go out like that. So I don't really know what it is, but I don't think that that's a ghost.
If the door closed by itself, I would say it's something paranormal. But I don't think this is. It's
Yeah,
it's a lot of
sure.
dust. I don't even think it's dust.
Yeah, this looks like VFX to me. Excuse me. Excuse me. All right. Well, I think I'm gonna put a pin in it for that. For me personally, I think this is a thumbs down. I think I can explain it, but I don't think that it's a ghost. I think it's probably VFX or some kind of aerosol spray, something like that. What's your take?
I'm not giving it a thumbs down, but I'm not giving it a thumbs up either. I'm staying neutral on it. I'm staying like, maybe, maybe not. I just do like the smoke because it's like it's not dust. It's too much dust. Like I'm speeding through it, and it's that over and over again. But if you notice in the video, it's coming from the two same spots, coming from the bottom left and the bottom right only. So it would seem that someone is spraying on this side, and then someone spraying on this side only. If it came from the top and the bottom, or if it came from the other way, like the original one, like look, if you go back, it's coming from the same area.
You want to look at the original post?
Yeah. And then why wouldn't he move it if you could move it? Like, why wouldn't he move it after?
Well, I think that this was just recorded footage. They weren't necessarily there for that particular event. But man, if I could move a thing around like that, I would definitely. It just, that looks like it's VFX to me. It doesn't look like it's like real.
What other videos does he have in his account? Let me see. That's
Oh, in the
one?
account. I bet this is a brand new account.
How can you tell?
Let's look.
Joined April 5th, 2016.
Wow.
And since he's posted it, he has 31,000 views. So he's getting about 2,000 views per hour.
Where are you looking? Because I'm looking at
about.
Unicorn Onesie. Cake Day is
No.
September 28th, 2023.
I'm looking at his YouTube channel when he uploaded this.
Oh, the YouTube channel, Crush.
Yeah.
I wasn't. Yeah, I was looking at the Reddit post. My bad.
Yeah, he joined YouTube on April 5th, 2016. He only has
31,000 views for this one video. Wow, we got to start faking some ghost encounters, man. What do you all think about that? Should we fake some ghost encounters and then link them here?
You know, we should make one, dude. I should be like, hey, this is what we experienced. Is it fact or fiction? You know, can you disprove it? Be like, hey guys, this is what happened to me.
Yeah, man, that's rough.
The predator came to visit me.
It's rough.
31,000 views is a lot of views, like for 2 days.
And it's just one thing. So this feels like it's an actual, just like, hey, this dude has an account, right? And they just posted this on there for people to see.
If he had other ghost videos, I would have been like, But this is his only video. He only has 4 subscribers. Name is Crush.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I mean, have you seen any of the Corridor Crew videos that I mentioned last week?
No.
Okay, so it's a VFX team that debunks these kinds of like claims, like UFO, ghosts, all that kind of stuff, right? And they look at the footage that's provided, and they immediately know like what filter was used to create like the effect, because they're professionals with VFX.
Wait. Did the lady speak?
Yeah. She says something. She's on the phone. No? I don't know.
Because the location is somewhere in Portugal. In the video. Let's see what. Let me check one more thing.
Okay. It's not English. It's at 140. Starts at 136, actually.
And this guy's saying is where is he from?
That's a good question. I don't know that it was posted. They just say that they live in a gated condo. They don't have like a state or an address or anything.
You can't tell where this person's from, right?
No, there's no info there. Fairly fresh Reddit account, fairly empty YouTube account.
So the YouTube account is from Portugal. The lady's T-shirt, Fabiana Santos, says personal organizer. It's a personal organizer from Portugal.
Where do you see that?
On her shirt in the beginning, and then if you go 2 days ago, Via L'Amour is like that's where they say the videos from the location.
Oh, I see where you're looking. Interesting.
Yeah, because I looked it up and it's a place in Portugal.
All right,
And
I mean,
typed
are you
in
saying that checks out? It all checks out? Ghost confirmed?
no? I don't know. It just seems kind of really weird now.
Okay, so before we lose the thread on the
Okay.
Porter crew, the reason I was bringing them up is because they tried to slip something into the UFO community, and they tried to do it twice, basically. And the first time they got called out. Second time, I'm not sure if they got called out or not. I'm not exactly sure.
They messed up, right? They left something in there, like the file.
They left
And
the
it is what you told
metadata.
me.
Yeah, they left the metadata up in the file on the first one. But on both of them, the first one they had, I think, a burner account, so it was like, brand new and fresh. And then the second one, they used someone's account who had existed since like 2016 or something, and had only posted things that were, like not aliens, not not in this. So it felt very authentic. So what I'm saying is, you still can't like. It's good to do the due diligence and check to see, where the account's from, is it fresh, and all that kind of stuff. I think at the end of the day, you can't really like make a good decision if someone's trying to fake you. Yeah, fake it. You can look a little bit and maybe find some relevant info, but
Yeah, I don't know. I'm more thumbs down
okay.
to finding out. I was like, it's a place in Portugal. The lady in the video from her shirt says like a personal organizer from Portugal. So it's like they could be stealing the content. Like someone said, like, "Hey, this is what happened to me. They found this weird video. Like, hey,
Put some
check
smoke
this out."
over it.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
It seems kind of weird now.
All right. Well, we're gonna close this one out as 2 thumbs down.
Yeah.
And that wraps up our segment for this week in Redacted, where we're taking a look at the top abnormal news. If you liked what you saw, please like and subscribe. That helps out the algorithm and helps get us out there. We're new creators, so we're still figuring this out. And hopefully you all enjoyed that. And we're
Make sure
also...
you guys like and subscribe.
Oh, say it again.
Make sure you like and subscribe. Hit that notification button.
Hit the notification button. And we have a special presentation tonight of Tales from Redacted. You all set?
Yeah. Welcome to another Tales of the Redacted. This is Chris Redacted, coming to you with your strange, abnormal stories here. Today, what I'm going to be covering today is the lead mask case. Have you ever heard of the lead mask case?
The lead mask case? What is this?
Lead mask case, right? So, this took place in 1966 in Brazil. And it takes place of 2 Brazilian electronic technicians that were found deceased wearing lead masks. So everything about this is just very strange. It's a super unknown story. There's so many weird things about it. This took place in Rio de Janeiro. Uh, what ended up happening is these two gentlemen were found deceased. They were reported to the officials. They went into a cave known as the Morro de VNM, which is like a difficult terrain area to get to. The police couldn't even get to their bodies. So what ended up happening is these two gentlemen were out there. They don't really know why they were out there, what exactly happened to them. It ended up happening that the two men were out there by Rio de Janeiro. Uh, on August 17th, these two gentlemen left their area. They intended to purchase a lot of material for their work, right? Which remains mysterious that a lot of people don't know what exactly they were doing. There's reported instances that they arrived to a city, to Nitirio. They arrived around 3 p.m. And what's crazy about it is there's a lot of strange things about the case where they wrote these weird, mysterious notes to each other saying, we're going to meet here at this specific time. You're going to open up this specific capsule. Don't tell anybody. We're going to take this specific capsule and we're going to take it and eat it. And there's just a lot of weird things about it. And it takes place, obviously, many years ago. What's so weird and abnormal is their case has never been, like, determined. They think that there's, like, multiple theories that what caused this is like they think that foul play was one of them. UFOs obviously is another big story. That they were also either on drugs or they committed suicide. Like they did it together and they believe that they were driven by this weird blinding light. These masks were also cut into metal and it shielded their eyes. And they think that the authorities think that they might have overdosed on drugs off of this. So it could have been that these two guys were out there trying to find a weird cave. They were wearing weird masks, weird outfits. It was all duct tape tied together. They went into a very remote place and they think that they were out there trying to do something or they were doing research, but it's just like a strange case. Like there's so many conspiracy theories about it that it's just there's too many to cover them. It's super well known in Brazil, and I've never even heard of this. I just looked up like strange encounters off of it. I'm missing a lot of it, but there was one specific thing that says at 1630 they were said to meet at the specific location. Right at 1830 they wanted to ingest these capsules, and then after they took these capsules they say they protect themselves with metals and then were waiting for signals while wearing the mask.
Wait,
And
protect themselves? What do you mean?
there's notes that they found on these people, and this note were written to each other in cryptic instructions that I just explained right now. It was in a small notebook, and in this small notebook is where they wrote everything to each other. And it says literally 1630 be at this specific location, 1830 ingest these capsules, and then wait for this, wear these masks, wear these signals, and wait. And then some kid found their bodies later on, and they were all wearing these masks, and that's where it came up this whole crazy story. And what was so weird is that there was more instruction on it, but it was just so cryptic that it was written that no one could really explain to them. They had empty water bottles, packets containing 2 wet towels, just a lot of things. No trauma to them, no signs of like struggle, like so they weren't killed, but what they were wearing and the suits that they had and then the lead eye mask that they were wearing, it just was like super weird, super strange, not normal. These people were professionals and there was just some weird things. I mean, I don't know what type of drugs were in 1966 besides LSD and marijuana and maybe some barbiturates, but for them to trip this hard to do this strange cryptic messages to each other, go out to the middle of nowhere, get high, wear a strange suit, and then die together right next to each other. It just there's just so many weird things about it. And yeah, it took place in August 20th of 1966.
So
and
what
it
are
was
the,
some kid that was flying his kite is what found them, and they don't know what killed them. And the kid reported it, and they didn't even get to their bodies to the next day because it was just so remote where they were at.
so what
It
are
was
the
also
major
waterproof.
theories? What are the major theories?
Aliens, that they committed suicide, you know, possible foul play, and that they were scientific spiritualists, that they were part of like some type of, cult, and that they made them kill them. A lot of people think that it was the psychological drugs that they were possibly taking that made them get so high that they also committed suicide.
Wow. So it was just two people, right?
Yeah, what's crazy also on top of that is they both had a diary of this and they both documented everything. I couldn't find anything on the diaries that they both had, but that they both had it and they both documented all of this. It's just what got me, and like just not that it scared me, but I was just like, what was the 1630 be a specific location, 1830 and just capsules, and then just like more weird stuff like that alone. I was just like, dude, what were they on?
How did they officially die?
They don't know. They couldn't discover. They couldn't rule it off as like. I guess the autopsy was inconclusive, is what it also said.
So, okay, let me just walk this back because I'm trying to understand. We don't know anything about these people beforehand, or like, what do we know about them beforehand?
Nothing. We
Nothing.
don't know anything. There was just these two gentlemen were like electrical technicians. So they like they had their
Right,
9 to
okay.
5s that they worked. They were in a major city, Rio de Janeiro, which is a super big city. And and then they were just both wearing matching suits, both made homemade lead masks, shaped and worn like sunglasses. They both had notebooks that filled out, and they both had the cryptic messages of 1630 be specific location, 1830 ingest these specific capsules. And they said that after the effects, protect metals, await signal mask. Like that's exactly what that. And then they found their bodies with empty water bottles and a pack containing 2 wet towels, both of them. So to make it even worse is there was no sign of trauma, no signs of struggle. They don't know what killed them. The only thing is that they come up with is maybe they were overwhelmed by work, and they tripped.
Both of them were overwhelmed
Now
by
here's
work.
yeah. Here's the other crazy thing, right? Is there's no the toxicology report for the time says that they had nothing in their system either. Now I don't know what the toxicology report was like in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then
Man.
the thing is, what's the other crazy thing is their intestines also had decayed beyond ability to test. So I guess that's why they couldn't figure it out too.
Oh, so they could have eaten something that was like, or
Disintegrate their
wow.
organs. They both
Yeah.
were married. They both had, I think, also
Well.
wives.
Well, that's a reason to go out there, right?
I mean, yeah, it could have been Brokeback Mountain, but yeah, they're both radio technician, electronic technicians. Like they were both like not like poor people. Like there was just
Yeah.
I wish I could find images of it.
Well, that's what I was asking about because, or trying to follow up on, was there any other information on them aside from their profession? Because, I mean, there's just a lot that's in this, right? Like the question is, obviously, you want to know what they were doing as like their end game, because was it a suicide
There's
pact?
a very creepy picture of them wearing sunglasses before their encounter. Like if you just type in lead mask case, you'll see the 2 pictures of the 2 gentlemen. They're wearing like some crazy sunglasses, and that's what I don't know. It's because that's what they found them with.
That looks. I don't know. That looks like it's photoshopped onto me.
Yeah, probably. But I couldn't find anything like what they look like with the mask.
I mean, here's
And
the crazy part to me, though.
I've
Like,
never heard of this story. No one's ever shared it with me, and there's multiple YouTube videos, multiple news stories. Like it's just a very strange encounter.
yeah, the thing that's most interesting to me is the fact that we're never gonna know, like in all of
I mean,
history.
well, 1966, like how many years ago was that? Like
Right.
what, like 40 plus years, right? And strange situation that they died. Strange things that they were wearing. Strange mask. Very rural place. Um, and then notebooks that they were writing to, like like both of them, weird messages. Like yeah, like
What do you think
I
happened? What do you
I
think
think they
happened?
were tripping balls, both of them. I think they mixed bunch of drugs and got super high, and they thought they heard something, and let's go do this. And I think that's what may have caused their eternal decay of organs, like why they couldn't test them because it was already like for I don't know how many 2 days. I don't even know how much. What was the time frame that they were lost?
I have no clue, but you know what this sounds like to me? It sounds to me like they took a bunch of acid, they lay down, they saw some time travelers from the CIA, and that was it. They were
Like you
done.
think that's what it is? Like
I don't know. I don't know. Like, what's interesting about this to me is obviously if you're doing a suicide pact, like, I mean, I don't know. Like, if you're doing a suicide pact, it seems a little much to have like an itinerary. Although maybe they were trying to end it at the same time, but like, there's nothing about their relationship, right? Like, there's
no.
nothing, there's no backstory about.
Well, why was it they're wearing like lead mask, like a lead eyeglasses and a mask? Like I think that's like what were they? Like I can't come up with anything. Like what would make them? Maybe it was LSD.
I mean, maybe, but there's so much effort that happens outside of the LSD to get there, right? Like those lead masks didn't just appear. You have to construct that, right? The
Like
notebook.
how hard is it to get lead? Like I've never needed to look for lead.
Well, yeah, but it's not even just that. It's just the fact that like they had to prepare for this. You know, they had to put planning into it. So that's why a suicide pact is an interesting idea for sure. But again, like we don't know their personal relationships. Well, how well did they know each other? Obviously, they knew each other well because they were planning this thing. So how long did they know each other for? You said that they were married, right?
Yeah.
So there was that aspect. So they had families. So, you know, was I mean, if it's a suicide pact, however you get there, I guess more power to you. But that just seems very strange and convoluted to get to that point. Unless the intent was like, hey, let's go out in a bang where no one will understand in all of history how we died. Right? That's how we want to be remembered. That would be baller. That would be straight up the
Oh
best.
man. So the okay, so I found an image, and I guess not in specific news article, but they have images of the lead glasses, and that's what people photoshopped into their pictures.
Okay.
They look like lead glasses that they put on, and yeah, they were wearing black suits. It wasn't like their whole face was covered, because I
Uh-huh.
first interpreted the story that they were wearing a mask and the eyeglasses were lead. Now it could have been a whole complete suit. I couldn't find a story that said that or any pictures or images, but all I did find was the strange looking glasses that they found on them. Lead glasses.
I
Which
mean,
is so eerie and creepy is just because like, okay, then wait for the signal.
yeah, but they could have been also, I mean, they're electricians, right? Yeah, electricians.
Yeah.
So maybe they were trying to do something. Maybe they were trying to experiment with something. The lead glasses could have been like a protective measure. I mean, the pills and
Oh,
the
dude,
itinerary, that
this
doesn't add
article
up.
has the pictures of their bodies. This one's a messed up one. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, definitely send it to me. I'll take a look. Behind the scenes.
I just sent it to you. Okay, so now here's even it gets even weirder. One of the men had 4,000, I guess, Brazilian dollars, and the other one had 150,000 in a plastic bag. They found
What?
strange yeah, they found strange formulas, electrical formulas. It also broke it down. The notes even got even weirder. Sunday, one capsule after lunch. Wednesday, one capsule after bedtime. The second, be at the place arranged. I guess it goes on with the time. And then after the feeling effects, protect half the face with lead mask. Await the agreed signal.
Man, what the hell? This is some crazy shit.
I was like, oh man, the more I research, the weirder this gets. Yeah, like they
So
had been seen by their families before, and then at 9 a.m. they like left. And they said
yeah,
that they were going to Sao Paulo, which is like 430 miles away from where they were at. And that they were even probably even carrying even more money than what they actually had, like what they actually took.
the lead glasses feel like a protective measure. A protective measure does not feel like it's in the spirit of a suicide pact. So,
Okay, so
personally,
check.
I would rule that out.
Okay, so the 17th is when they went to that area, right? And then 2 days later, their bodies were found on the 20th. And they already had stated that the decomposition was already bad. No indications of poison, even if their organs were like completely messed up. They assumed that they died from cardiac failures.
Very bizarre.
Okay, so now it even gets even weirder. So apparently, on the August 17th, in the area nearby there, they had spotted UFOs also. This is a different person, different
Everyone
lady.
spots UFOs everywhere, man. Like, that's the problem. I would normally. Okay, so here's my take on this. Before watching the Encounters episodes about how UFOs crop up, everywhere, it just feels like anytime anything happens, you can see a ghost and be like, oh, hey, there was some UFO stuff that happened like a week ago. It's a hot spot.
It's always gonna be
So,
that, dude. But what's even crazier is they're okay. So after they discovered that they were dead, and the police then went to go contact all their family.
yeah.
One of their coworkers also said that they were part of this, I guess, this scientific spiritualist, and they were into like a bunch of weird stuff too. Like it gets stranger and stranger the more you go into this.
See, that's more convincing to me. I think what this sounds like to me, just like looking over the details at the service level, is that they were into some shit together, right? They had some kind of background with electrical engineering, so they're probably friends, is what I would guess. It sounded
Yeah,
to me like they were
coworkers.
experimenting. Yeah, coworkers. So, but they're also, they're hanging out, obviously, potentially doing suicide pacts. And it sounds to me like they're doing some kind of experiment, right? Now, if they're doing some weird spiritual stuff, I mean, I can picture, being in the 60s and you get, your hands on some drugs or whatever, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to travel through time with my lead glasses out in the forest or wherever. But yeah, the itinerary still sounds very strange. And even I'm just looking right now, there's some more details here that are just kind of like,
They're tying the whole UFO thing. It starts getting kind of really weird. A couple
yeah.
of stories that I'm reading that they're going like they started researching in '90 that there was like some weird UFO connection.
Yeah, but why? Like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that. Like, I get it. Like, there's like a UFO reports, but where else do you have stories of like people coordinating with UFOs and making lead masks and taking pills at specific times? It seems very outside the realm of like the normal UFO sort of experience, which could be fine.
I mean, it's just I mean, it's so long ago, and it just remains a mystery, and it's like one of Brazil's greatest mysteries. It's just like it's just weird. It just has a lot of weird factors in it. That's a fascinating story.
A
It's
fantastic
sad though.
story.
Yeah, it's sad too, because it's just like two people died potentially because they got high. I think I feel that's what it was. I feel like they were high on drugs, and man, like oddly enough, today when I was driving to Starbucks to pick up my coffee, I saw someone like bending over backwards with her legs all crossed, and she was like high in her mind. And I started singing the Cypress Hill song, "I Want to Get High." So, but it's just like, yeah, dude, drugs destroyed. And I personally think that they were on something, and they just tripped it really bad and died, unfortunately.
I mean, if you're
But we
gonna
may never
go,
know.
might as
We
well
may
go
never
out
know.
big.
But yeah, this is a crazy story to share with people, like just the lead mask mystery. It really is. It's like the lead glasses mystery. That's what it should really. Because I thought it was a mask, but it's really just glasses.
Well, if you like this Tales from Redacted, like this video and
Yeah,
subscribe.
definitely. I'll come up with another story next week. See what I find.
Yeah, this is great. I love this one. All
Dude, they
right.
had a lot of money. Like, who carries that much money with them?
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me. There's another story. We're kind of off script on this one, but this is kind of an aside. Man, I remember hearing this like maybe a year ago. I think it was on a Mr. Ballin podcast.
Hmm.
Well, let me adjust your TikTok thing while we're talking. Um, it was kind of a similar feel. It had a same vibe. Like a family had basically.
Oh, I
Um,
heard about
you
that
remember
one. The
the
one
the
that like,
family?
yes, that they just get up and leave, and they take all their money and they take all their belongings, and
Yeah,
it's like them. It was like
the
the
dog.
husband, wife, dog, and the two kids, and they like disappear. Like they
Yeah,
sell
right.
all their belongings, yeah, and then no one ever knows what happened to them.
It's like the same vibe. That's the thing that like. Uh,
Like, what do you think happens? Like, I don't. As much as I want to say that it was maybe drugs, I don't know. Like, it was like really weird. This is just like a strange story, and it wasn't like a kid that found it. It was like an 18-year-old.
yeah, I don't know, man. Like it feels like in that case of that story, it feels like it's like mafia or like something like that. Like,
Ooh, I didn't think about that. Like maybe they owed money and they were trying to meet up with someone. Maybe they were trying to run away.
yeah, something like that, right? Like you're running away from a situation that like you hit. But like in the case of like the lead mask, I'm gonna ask my coworker who's Brazilian to see if he
It's like, have
knows
you
the
ever heard of the lead
story.
mask story?
Yeah, because I can't man, what a again, like the whole like honestly, like the whole thing for me is that like the further away we get from that event, the less we're gonna be able to figure it out unless someone else has meticulous details somewhere in like a journal about like what really happened.
What's their
And
coworker? Their coworker has a whole story that they were into like weird stuff, and he was a part of it. Like his whole group was a part of it. All those electrical um,
are we talking like
technicians.
satanic stuff, like witchcraft,
No
like stuff like
idea. Like,
that?
yeah, they were into seances and stuff like that. So you
Okay,
possibly.
that's awesome. I mean, that's honestly, like on the surface level, I don't think any of that stuff's real, but I could picture a scenario where they're like doing some kind of like cult exercise, and they're
And
like, "Oh,
die in
hey,
the process, bro.
here, take this leaf, that's we've extracted blah 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 from," and then it just like dissolves their intestines, and that's the end. And then everyone else in the cult is like, "Oh shit, they died. We can't do this. We were gonna do this on Tuesday."
Maybe.
Yeah, like
Or
something
like,
like
let's
that.
test with them and see what happens.
Man, people are fucking barbaric. So, all right, this is looking pretty good. So we want to look up on TikTok. Oh, actually, hold on. Let's go ahead and close off the live stream. That way we don't
Copy
get
that.
copy struck on this one. So if you happen to sit through this and enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. We really enjoyed putting this together, and we're looking forward to doing more in the near future. There will be a podcast of this after the fact, and I suggest hitting that up. Otherwise, have a good night.
Have a good night. Thank you for watching. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Hit that notification button, and just tell us if you have any suggestions. If you like the stories, you didn't like the stories, you like our topics, just let us know down below in the comments.